Married at First Sight Australia, Episode 31, Part 2. Continuing on, dinner was now served. So the dinner party started with most of the group raising their glasses to the evening. Then we saw a lot of chit-chat going on, the usual. Then one conversation that took place was with Alana and Beck. Beck asked Alana something like, does your husband think that sitting at the end of the table is going to keep him out of trouble? Something like that, she said. And then Alana turned around and said, he's not my husband, okay? I think oh my God, it's that bad. Oh dear. Beck then asked her, didn't he dump you by text? And Alana turned around and said, yes, he did dump me by text. And I believe it. I believe every single word she just said. Because that's a move he would do. But when talking to the camera, he turned around and said, I didn't dump her by text. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? Because I would believe Alana over him. Alana's the person that tells the truth, even though you don't want to hear it. Alana is that person. Jason will cover up everything so as not to be humiliated or embarrassed. He's that guy. Whilst Beck and Alana were having this conversation, you could see Jason at the end of the table looking very embarrassed, humiliated by what these guys were saying. And he was saying to the rest of the group at his end of the table, she's lying. Yeah. Okay, Jason, we believe you. The next thing that happened was Beck asked, what did the text say? And Alana turned around and said, it said something like, I've had some time to think. I could never see a future with us. Too much had been said and done. And she said it killed her to see that. So after that conversation, when speaking in front of the camera, Jason turns around and says, we weren't technically together when we broke up. That's what he said. That's what he said. He then turned around and said it all stemmed from them having an argument. And she called him out in front of his friends. Yes, she's that girl. She will call you out. Don't even try to lie. Because she's not having it. And I applaud her for that. I do. When it came to the text message, he said that she called the next day saying, we're not together. Do you need some time? And Jason said, yeah, I do need some time. Then after thinking about it, he wrote her a text to say, it's not going to work and I can't see us together. But initially, her saying that we're not together, do you need some time? He instigated that through the argument they had the day before. He would have turned around and said, you know what, I'm done. He would have had one of his little tantrums and stormed out. That's what he would have done. So in her head, they weren't together. For her to initially start the conversation with those words. He instigated it. I'm telling you now. Watching these two at the dinner table, you could still see that they felt for each other. He was looking uncomfortable down the bottom of the table. She kept glancing over, he kept glancing over. At one point he says, I can't look at her. He still felt something. He still felt something for her. Even though he felt humiliated at the same time, he still felt something for her. Oh dear. And then another point she did make when speaking to Beck was, again, when it comes to communication, he dumped her by text. He couldn't even FaceTime. That's really what she said. Not even a FaceTime. You see this guy? Weak. When you saw these two talking to the camera at individual stages, you could see these two getting emotional. because they did see a future. They wanted it to work. But I told you already, it wasn't going to work. Communication with these two doesn't work. Well, let's put it this way. Alana is a good communicator. Mr. Jason isn't. So with that being said, it wasn't going to work. End of story. Shortly after that conversation, guess who surprised us with his presence? Yes, Mr. Cameron. You know what? I completely forgot all about him. I forgot all about him not being at the cocktail party. And then it was Kerry talking to Sam at the dinner table that mentioned Cam's name again. And I remembered at that point. And then I forgot again. Out of sight, out of mind. That's where my head went. Also, I've just realised he didn't come to the boys' night either, did he? Yeah. You know what? I've only just realised. Again. Out of sight, out of mind. But anyway, he graced us with his presence. I think most of the table were happy to see him. Majority of people were happy to see him. But the two people that weren't were, of course, Samantha and Sam. Sam's face. Did you see Sam's face? If looks could kill. Oof. We know he's got a bone to pick with him. Oh my God, here we go. This is not going to be pretty. But another thing I realised, both Sams were sitting next to each other. Was that deliberate? Oh dear. So both Sams have got a bone to pick with Mr. Cameron. These two are already on the back foot. As in Samantha and Sam. They're already on the back foot. Because what Mr. Cameron did, he did the rounds of the table. And he actually patted them two on the shoulder to say hello. Didn't see Samantha's one, but I saw Sam. We saw that shoulder tap to say hello. And Mr. Sam actually said, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm good. Ooh. No, he's not. No, he's not good. He's just working up to it. Give him time. Give him time. It's all going to turn around. We then saw Cameron take a seat at the top of the table. Yes, the top of the table. Looking very comfortable he was. Again, conversing with everyone. Making himself at home. I also noticed that him and Coco don't seem to have any animosity. They seem to be very amicable. Even though things didn't go so well. Even though he ghosted her. Yeah, all of that. But they still came to a middle ground and were able to hug it out. Sit next to each other, as we can see. Oh, it's looking nice so far. But that's before Mr. Sam couldn't help himself but say something. He said, "Hey Cam, how did that meeting go with you and Coco when you met up with her?" That's what he said. That's what he said. Now everybody's attention is on Cameron. Sam proceeded to say, "I can't hear you." And Cam's answer was, "I'm eating." Yeah. He had a mouthful of food. He was eating. He was busy. He has no time for your foolishness. That's what he was thinking. And because Sam didn't get the reaction he was expecting, he kept goading. He kept calling him the big dog, the big champion of the group. He just kept going, trying to wind him up. Let's see where this goes. He continued to wind him up, calling him again the big dog, the big alpha male of the group. Yeah, he just kept going and going and going. He then accused him of bad-mouthing him behind his back. Yes, that's what he did. And then Cam turned around and said, "What, are you jealous that it didn't work out between you and Coco?" That's what he said. And Sam turned around and said, "No, I'm not jealous. I just don't like the fact that you've been bad-mouthing me behind my back." And Sam continued to call him names. Yes, he did. And then Cameron behind that turned around and said, "I wouldn't badmouth you behind your back. You're a flog. You're a flog. You're a flog." I've heard that name a few times now. Didn't know what it meant, but it means dickhead. He's a dickhead. He's a dickhead. He's a dickhead. And then Sam continues to call him a flog. "You're the king of flogs. You're like Gonzo's long-lost brother." Oh, God. This name calling malarkey is too funny. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Now I've composed myself, I'm back. So Sam continues to berate him. Yeah. But Cameron, being Cameron, he doesn't rise to these type of things. Cameron just sits there in silence. Doesn't really interact much. And this is what winds Sam up even more. Yeah. Because he's not getting the reaction he really wants. But Sam continues on by asking, "Hey Cam, after you slept with Coco, did you ghost her as well?" That's what he said. That's what he said. And Coco's answer to that was, "No, I didn't get ghosted. I didn't get ghosted." Why is she lying? Because she said at the girls' night she got ghosted. Why is she lying all of a sudden? And then Sam, as in Samantha, on the back of that said, 100% you got ghosted. You told everybody you got ghosted. Oh dear, why is this girl lying? Why is she lying? Is she feeling embarrassed at this moment? Why is she lying? Because that's going to come back to bite her, believe me. The conversation then came back to the situation with Cam and Coco, them having an affair, you might as well say, whilst he was still with Samantha. Yeah. Someone accused them of sleeping together. Coco denied, "We didn't sleep together, let alone kiss." That's what she said. But we all know different. We all know she was lying about the kiss thing anyway. That's one big fat lie already. And again about the ghosting. Again, another lie. Coco, why are you doing this? Because as I said, it's going to come back to bite you. It will. As I've said before, what's done in the dark will always come to light. And what we saw next was Alana say something about this situation. She said, "We were defending you before, Coco. But what seems to have occurred is that we later found out that you had been texting and seeing Cam behind Samantha's back." And it was at that point that Samantha was like, "Oh my God." Like she knew none of this. This is all new to her. She didn't have a clue. The shock horror on her face to hear that at the dinner table. Woo! Oh dear. Coco then continued talking about her relationship with Sam, her husband at the time, and how it was strained and that she wanted to speak to someone that knew Sam, which would have been Cameron from back home. So that's the reason why she got with Cameron, to find out information from him about her husband. That was the story she was telling on the table here. Yeah. Not that anybody believed it. Not that anybody believed it. And that's when Samantha butted in by saying, "Yes, you were doing that behind my back, hanging out. And you think that's appropriate?" That's what Samantha said. That's what Samantha said. And Coco's answer to that was, I've apologised for that. And then Samantha's answer to her was, I don't give an F about your apology. That's what she said. That's what she said. And then Cameron came in and said, if you don't give an F, why are we still talking about it? Yep. That's what he said. Why are we still talking about it? We then saw Alana again put her point of view across in regards to this whole affair, because that's what she called it. This is like somebody being cheated on, having an affair. Can you not see it? Can you not see the bigger picture of what you've done? Coco was quite humble at that point. She was. She really had to think about this. Oh dear. Because that's what it really was. You were having an affair with my husband. That's what that really was. There's no denying that. And that's another reason Alana and Jason didn't work out. Because she calls it as she sees it. She calls it as she sees it. And if you can't handle the truth, you have no place being with her. Jason. Coco's answer, by the way, behind this was, these two were not happy. That was her excuse, you know, for having the affair. These two were not happy. Oh, this girl. I thought she was getting it at one point. I thought she was. But this girl. As Samantha said, she was in this until the end. Until we both said leave and leave. That's what she said. As far as she's concerned, he was still her husband. And you two were having an affair. Simple. She did not go for any other male within the experiment, as she said. Because like she said, she was committed. But you did. And I do not forgive you. You're the flog. That's what she said. And all the time that I notice this quarrelling argument going on, Cameron always seemed to be in the background. It never seemed to be about him. It always seemed to be about the women fighting between themselves. And him just dead on the side. Like he wasn't part of it. Oh dear. Anyway, after all that drama, everything went back to normal. Everybody conversing, having nice chit chats. Yeah, nice ambience. No drama. So we thought. And then we begin again. This time it's Sam, Bryce and Melissa. Oh dear. Here we go again. This conversation started on the back end of Patrick and Belinda talking about their relationship and how happy they were. And then Melissa and Bryce were saying they were happy for them and they were very interested in how things were going. And then Sam couldn't help himself but say, oh, how's it going with, what's the girlfriend on the outside supposedly? What's her name? Yeah, that's what he said. How's it going with X, Y and Z? Yes. That was a shock. Everybody's like, what? What? What did you just say? Anyway, Bryce's reply to him was, oh, she's actually good. Yes, that's what he said. And everybody was shocked again. And then on the back end of that, Melissa turned around and says, for anybody that's interested, I actually spoke to her. Yes, that's what she said. She actually spoke to her. She then turned around and said she wasn't going to tell her version of the story before someone else tells it. So she turned around and said to the table, what have you heard? And it was Booker that turned around and said, I heard from a friend back home, a flatmate of hers that was friends with a colleague of Bryce's. And this so-called girlfriend, whoever she is, after she was dumped by Bryce, she was told by Bryce to pick up the phone to Melissa and just put the rumours to rest. That's virtually what she was saying, to put the rumours to bed. And this so-called girlfriend did it because she didn't want to be seen as the other woman either. Yeah, that's the story. It was then that Joe, that asked Melissa, so what did the girl say? Melissa wasn't that confident now after hearing what Booker had just said. She virtually shut that conversation down. She's not going to embarrass herself. Not any further. At the beginning of this conversation, she was very confident. She was very confident. Now, after hearing all of this, oh, no, not anymore. She don't want to talk about the conversation now. She wants to shut it down. She told everybody to shut the hell up. I'm over it. That's what she said. I too am over it. I'm done. There's no point in talking to this woman. No point. You're flogging a dead horse. So I'm not going to waste any more time here. Moving on. The next thing that she said, yes, Melissa. The next thing she said was to Beck. So how are you and Jake getting on? Yes, that's what she said. Beck turned around and said, we're not together. And then Jake turned around and said, where do we start? And then Beck turned around and says, it starts with a kiss, Jake, with Booker. Yes, Booker. That's the name, Booker. Jake continues to say that this happened on New Year's Eve. It was a New Year's kiss. Him and Booker kissed on the lips, and that was it. It wasn't anything romantic. It was actually Beth that filmed them and put it on Instagram. But she herself said it wasn't a romantic kiss. It was very innocent. Otherwise, she wouldn't have put it on there. But Miss Beck has taken it to another level and accused him of cheating. And as far as he's concerned, him and Beck were no longer together. Beck then turns around and says, we were together. It was a kiss that broke the camel's back. Now I know she's lying. This sourpuss is lying. Jake's story when we saw him at the cocktail party was he spent 20 days in Perth. And only 2 of the days she spent with him. As far as he was concerned, they weren't together. No way in hell. She was playing him. That's what she was doing. And every time he spoke, she tried to manipulate the situation. She tried to justify things. Yeah. Always trying to shut him down. I don't believe a word that comes out of that girl's mouth. Never have. From day dot, I have never liked her. Never. And I don't say that a lot about people. I really don't. I find the good in everyone. But this one here, the minute I set eyes on her, my heart na take her. Yes. My heart didn't take to her. And I go with instincts. When I meet people, I do. And my instincts were right on the button. She is nasty, horrible personality, not someone I would associate with. No way in friggin' hell. We then saw Beth come to Jake's defence, and Beck wasn't having it. She couldn't believe that she was hearing this from Beth's mouth. But Beth being Beth, just sort of shut it down. If I was Beth, I would have had Jake's back and I would have told Beck all about herself. I would have put her in her place. There is no way in hell she would try to manipulate me. No way in hell. We also saw Booker apologise to Beck for kissing Jake. Okay, I'll let that one slide. She apologised. We then heard Beck say that kissing other women is a boundary of hers. Kissing someone else is non-negotiable. That's what she said. It goes against her morals. And that's why her and Jake are not right for each other. Yeah, that's a flaming cop-out. Who's falling for that? Who's falling for that? Definitely not me. She's a damn liar. I can't listen to any more of her dribble. I just can't. So just to end on a good note, we saw Patrick make a speech, thanking everybody for coming to the dinner tonight and how it was nice to see everyone again and for everyone to get a good night's rest. And tomorrow we get to do this all again. So with that being said, this is where I'm going to leave it. If you like what you heard, please like, comment and subscribe. Till next time.